Hi guys, I'm Edward. I'm just creating this video because I want to talk about the Online Safety Act. The Online Safety Act is a piece of legislation that was brought into effect in 2023. I want to talk about the debates that were had leading up to that point, but also the after effects. So I'm not going to go really in depth. I have issues with the actual point of the legislation and also some things that parents should consider as well. So just to qualify myself, I am a computer scientist, literally a computer scientist. I've also been writing software for about 16 years now. I'm 32, so about 14, 15, 16 is when I started writing code, and I sold my first website professionally when I was 16, which is, great for a 16-year-old. I then moved on to Linux admin and, managing service for people, setting up WordPress sites for mom and pop shops, and doing things that people didn't really want to do themselves because it was too geeky or they just didn't care about the tech really, but I found fascinating. So variety of skills there, but the main thing is writing code for people and managing servers. In the present, I also do a bit of cybersecurity. The t-shirt that I'm wearing I won in 2023 during a hacking competition. I also have some cool little toys like this. This is a Wi-Fi pineapple, which if you connect the antennas, I can start projecting Wi-Fi networks that look like the official one, but actually aren't. And I can do that once, or I can do that 100 times. I can set up hidden networks. So when you think there's not a network there, there is actually a network there. And then I can make it available and make it look like free internet. I can start attacking Wi-Fi and break in. But again, don't do that. Don't do that without permission, because it's kind of illegal to do that. I've also got, that I keep on my keys at all times, this little device, which is called a rubber ducky, that just looks like a normal USB. But actually what it does is it's programmable, so I can make it do basically whatever I want, and you plug it into a USB slot, and it does what it's programmed to do. So that could be as simple as popping up an image, or it could be installing a web server on the machine that runs silently, slowly sending information back to somewhere else, or it could be installing a virus. It could be something really innocent, or it could be something very malicious. So hopefully that sort of gives you an idea of what I've done. I've done the really basic stuff, I've done the really advanced stuff, and I've done that for a wide variety of people, whether it's mom and pop shops or it's international companies like Compass Hospitality that manage hotels in Thailand or over here. So they actually do have hotels in both countries, and I've done cybersecurity for those guys. So really wide variety of clients, mostly freelance, but hopefully that gives you a bit of confidence in what I'm about to say. So the Online Safety Act, the Online Safety Bill as it was when it was going through Parliament, I took some issues with it when it was going through because they had a definition, legal yet harmful. And I thought, well, hang on, what we're going to do is we're going to go from the definition legal yet harmful, and we're going to go down this slippery slope, and nobody's actually asked what is harmful. There was no definition for it that I could find at the time, and I was looking on Hansard and I was looking at the official website for it. There was nothing. But what seemed to be the key factor was, if it's legal and it's causing harm, we need to be able to ban it off the planet. We need social media companies to get rid of it, and we need to be able to enforce some type of ban through Ofcom. that doesn't seem to me to be a very good mechanism for policing content, because as a society there's always somebody offended at what somebody else is doing. A really good example of that at the moment is we've got people screaming far right at whatever is disagreed with by people that are potentially left of the debate, and then people on the right or the centre scream left. So if we put that in a political context, imagine what would happen if one side or the other gets into power. We're going to start banning each other's views. Just nonsense. As a society, we need to actually have balance. And that did not seem to be the case. It seemed to be a case of we will lock, stock and barrel censor. And we sort of saw that. We sort of saw that when Starmer came into power, and then we had those riots. I'm not going to take a particular side, but what I will say is there does seem to be a tendency to, push down on those people. They might not be the most literate people in the world. They might not be contributing that much to society, but the, concerns they have are born out of, frustration, resentment. They're born out of fear, perhaps. And arguably so because of things like Maggie Oliver, Maggie Oliver's campaign. So there needs to be some listening and some understanding about how other people in society are impacted. However, if we start labelling all those people far right and say, they're just ne'er-do-wells and they're, the far right, we don't need to listen to them, no empathy, yada yada, we're going to get into a position where nobody listens to anybody else, nobody has sympathy for anybody else, and we're all in echo chambers. So I thought that was particularly poor thinking by legislators. The other thing that I thought was quite bad was legislators were particularly misinformed. So what seems to be happening, particularly now, in the present, is there's this push to regulate adult content. From I think it's the 27th, later this month, you'll have to provide proof that you're 18 plus in order to access adult content. Okay, fine. So the main websites have signed up to this, as has social media. So Reddit, for example, will no longer show you subreddits like Gone Wild if you're not verified as 18. Okay, fine. The problem is the MPs that were debating this broke their own rule. So one particular MP, I can't remember her name, but it was definitely a woman, stood up and said, I'm very concerned about TikTok. My son, who's 11, goes on TikTok with his friends and he follows the trends and he makes the videos. Okay. Well, first of all, that's your son, and the limit for getting on TikTok is 13. So you have literally bypassed TikTok's rules already, defeating your own argument for protecting children. So in my view, that shows how uninformed MPs actually were when they were debating this, because they were showing their own poor parenting. If you can't enforce your own rules in your own house, how do you expect Ofcom and regulators to enforce it in the real world? Complete nonsense. No consideration for parental controls, no consideration for the actual terms that were in force already. So, there's just no onus on parents, and they seem to be taking the onus away and saying, we are now the parents, and we will tell parents what their children can and cannot access. But very, very poor legislation. So the other thing as well is we have to consider whether this is causing more harm than good. So let's just think we've got MPs that don't know whether their own children are accessing harmful content on TikTok because they've given them a device and said, here you go, little Johnny, I've got legislation to write and expenses to claim, so you go off and do TikTok with your friends. But the legislation that they are pushing makes it harder to access things on a central platform, and so inevitably what you have is lots of splinter groups, right? Now the example I'm going to give to this, once I've had a drink, 1 second, you'd be amazed at actually how many times I've tried to record this. So, and that involves a lot of speaking, which I don't do a lot of, despite how much I blather on social media. So, the example I'm going to give is the prohibition in America. So, the government in America banned alcohol. What happened? Did alcohol go away? No, of course it didn't. Of course it didn't. It went into speakeasies. People started creating novel ways to get round, the ban. It saw the rise of Al Capone. You had corrupt policemen. You had policemen informing on the corrupt policemen, and so on. Over in England, we've actually had a very similar situation, religious persecution, where priest holes happened. So obviously, the Protestants were there in power, and it was no longer safe to be a Catholic. So in order to have their religious ceremonies, they created priest holes for the priests to hide in case they got searched. It creates a splinter movement. It creates lots of places for people to go. Hence why banning and preventing people from accessing things just doesn't work. Look again at the Nazis. When the Nazis were persecuting the Jews, it's just the same story. It's a very lazy comparison actually to do the Nazis and the Jews. Very lazy, but accurate, because there is not a cat in hell's chance of children not accessing this content, and whether that's adult content, or whether it's suicide content, or whether it's content about can't think of the word now. It's types of weight loss and anorexia. That's the word. Anorexia, weight issues. I've got a weight issue myself, in fairness. Maybe this will get banned because of it. It's just not realistic. It's not realistic. The whole concept that you ban a central platform and then you create loads of splinter platforms that are not regulated, and then the problem's solved. Ridiculous. And I know it's ridiculous for a fact because when this was being debated, we had the whole Elon Musk takes over Twitter drama. And what happened was loads of people left Twitter, including lots of young people. And what happened was the majority migrated over to Mastodon, which is a program that you can run on one of these. So it's a Raspberry Pi. You can turn it into a server, and you can run Mastodon on it. You can run a Mastodon server. You know, the networking will probably take a bit more to figure out than actually installing the software. But you know, the main issue is anybody can do it. You know, the least technical person in the universe could do that. And so what I found was, when I wrote the blog post that subsequently got picked up by a cybersecurity journal, there were actually lots and lots and lots of paedophile groups on Mastodon listed openly on the index. And it was blowing my mind that the government didn't understand that when people move from a centralised platform to something very decentralised, they have less control, but also they're basically pushing youngsters to be groomed. You know, I mean, I messaged the person that was running the index of what all the servers were, and I said, "Do you realise you're hosting, you know, the paedophile groups that were listing themselves as LGBT, by the way, which was just abhorrent." I said, "You do realise you're hosting these people on your index. You might want to take those down because, you know, you're getting a lot of traffic, and also, you know, kind of illegal." And he just wouldn't do it. So, you know, it's like, well, you know, it doesn't have to, because, you know, there's no regulation. And that's kind of the point. Not hosted in the UK, not hosted in the US or anywhere that, you know, that would force this guy to take the stuff down. And I basically got told, up yours, you know. Well, what do you do then? And that Ofcom are going to encounter exactly the same problem. You know, they'll send a request and they'll say, "Are you complying with our regulation?" Well, up yours. You know, the internet is not radio. The internet is not TV channels. It's not community radio where you have to have a base in the UK. You can host something anywhere. It's a complete nonsense. So that is the harm that I think is going to come from this. And I think parents also need to think about whether their parental responsibility is being trod on by the government. Because certainly as a parent, I feel like it's being trod on. You know, I would like to police my own children's access to harmful content and not have Ofcom and the government and social media companies telling me, excuse me 1 second. Oh, that's better. Telling me what you know, my own children are going to access. That's not really how democracy works. But anyway, that's been my rant. We're up to about 18 minutes now. I'm going to go because I've got to prepare for beekeeping tomorrow and get some sleep. So I hope you found it interesting. Maybe you completely disagree with me. That's fine. Do feel free to leave a comment. Do feel free to message me and, you know, tell me what you think of me. Whatever. I don't really mind. You know, I'm happy to just disagree with people. But yeah, if you found it interesting, if you found it useful, if you found me a complete bore, let me know. Because I'm using this video as a way to test, you know, the kind of content that people like on Facebook. So, you know, let me know. And hopefully we'll see more, because I definitely enjoy talking about this kind of stuff. It grinds my gears, and as you can probably tell, I like talking about it. So let me know, and I'll see you in the next video.